one thing the government don't really tell people, you know, that Jamaica, like Nigeria, is a scamming country. And we make millions of dollars from scamming. But nobody mentioned that. A lot of people out there right now, when you see a drive vehicle, don't know where the money comes from. It just come.
I hear so the two of them neck and neck, you hear that too?
Yeah, neck and neck, you know. Yes.
Neck business are going on, one of them go and chop off now.
The election, serious selection, serious selection.
Every election serious, man. Serious one. I see same thing I go on. This is the Cutting Edge and I FM there with you next Wednesday. Whenever they are last week, Canada call me and we did have to go. Wonderful presentation. Masani, who I yell up Masani, anybody will know Masani there. Till I say Mutabaruka, yell up. Should do a wonderful work. Yeah. Yell up Johnny Clark, my name aspired the whole time. Johnny Clark, yeah man, you're about still, what you mean? Very pointed program tonight, yeah. We're gonna disturb whole heap of one, but listen. Yes, listen. When information come to you, you listen, and when you don't agree with, you take that out of your mind, and then you have to be a thinker, critical thinking, and that is what we really offer on this program. Yeah. We wake up in all this time yeah, because them look like them wake up, they have been woken up from ever since I live here. And when I say live here, I mean plan this planet here. And we still a dilly. Europeans that get themselves together, see them all fight one another to see who is best to rule the continent of Europe. Yeah man, white people are kill off white people. You don't see it. You know them tell you say, why black people are kill off? Oh, black people have kill off themselves so. You want to tell me nothing. Don't tell me nothing. Because war are going in Africa, war are going in Europe. Amount of people are dead in Europe. It's not funny. I say we have some pointed reasoning that we want to put to the people them. Why you upon my Christian friend them? Christian friend them vex when we talk about some of them think. And this program is about thinking on the next level. Yes. Not the conventional level where you know about, but different kind of information is presented. First break. Yes, we're there with you. So, we want to take you back in time a little and really talk about some things we used to talk about. I remember in the year 2000, close after the beginning of the millennium, closing a one, we created a lecture up at the university. We was talking about Christianity, the illusion of the African mind. And it the video too, I think, what them call it, CPTC did there, and them shoot it. The place was packed out. You have enough scholars of Bible from the seminary. I remember Chisholm did there, big Chisholm. Whole heap of ones. And I call in Lakim Simaj and Ibo Cooper for talk. Now, I got Canada and some people I remind me about enough things what I say. And them never hear me mention them things again. I say, well, give thanks that you remember it still. So maybe you should have go tell some people. I want to play this. And then I start to talk about what I want to talk about because it really boiled down to my Christian friend them. And the one of them who cuss me all the while. And tell them, they say, no listen to me. Because me are this and because me are that. And yet still when we go up at the seminary, because them invite me up there, Me hear them say, but it's the same thing we learn in the seminary. Same thing. Me never go to seminary. No, me never go there. Me read the Bible. Me read other books. Me read history book. I'm a critically come out with certain perspective where most one of the feel say, boy, we must go to some university or not. All right, we want to play this.
Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of Questions Protestants Can't Answer. Today's question is, who wrote the Gospel of Mark? And how do you know? I'm John Martinoni, president and founder of the Bible Christian Society, and today's question is focused on the idea of sola scriptura, which is Latin for the Bible alone, or the Bible only, which is one of the fundamental pillars of most of Protestantism, that we can know all we need to know about our Christian faith and about Christian morals by simply picking up the Bible and reading. So this question, who wrote the book of Mark, is a very important question, because what it does is, if all I need to know about Christianity I get from the Bible, if the Bible is my sole authority in matters of faith and morals, which it is for most Protestants, how can they answer that question? Because nowhere in the Bible does it tell us who wrote the book of Mark. This thing right here at the beginning of the Gospel of Mark in Scripture that says the Gospel according to Mark, that's not inspired Scripture. That's put in there by the publisher of the Bible. We don't have any originals from Mark that say, I, Mark, wrote this gospel, or that say the gospel according to Mark. So again, if you go by the Bible alone, how do you know that Mark wrote Mark? That somebody named Mark even wrote Mark? And how do you know that that Mark was inspired? Where in the Bible does it tell you who wrote the Gospel of Mark so that you may trust that it is inspired Scripture? Because if you don't know who wrote it, how can you know it's inspired Scripture? This is very, very important. So as Catholics, we need to ask everyone who believes in the Bible alone as their sole rule of faith, who wrote Mark? And if they say Mark, the secretary of Peter and companion of Paul, the next question is, how do you know? Because I read Mark and there's nothing here that says, I, Mark, companion of Peter and Paul, wrote this gospel. Nothing in Luke that tells me, nothing in Paul's letters that tells me who wrote the Gospel of Mark. So what authority are you relying on? It's not the Scriptures to know who wrote Mark. So again, the question is, who wrote the Gospel of Mark, and how do you know?
Okay, so if he's a listener to Cutting Edge, we played a little clip there. For years we have played a clip there. Who wrote the Gospel of Mark? I went to carry it a little further. Who wrote the Gospel of Matthew? Who wrote the Gospel of John? And who wrote the Gospel of Luke?
The time on IRFM is...
Time is 12 minutes to 11. Who wrote these Gospels? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I want to know how much people out there ever ask themselves the question, including the ones who have studied religion up at the university, at the seminary. How come these people have English name? The people them who write the first 4 books of the Gospels, all them have English name. And I'm going to put it to you, and I want you to really check it. Most of the New Testament is centered around what Paul said about a man named Jesus, who him never know. Yes, him say it in the Bible, say him never know nobody named Jesus. Him hear about this man, but him never know him. Never know him. So all what Paul write about is where him believe in as a man who has searched for a spiritual awakening. But it is written in letters to different white people in Europe and around the area where they're there. The Ephesians, the Galatians, the Corinthians, the Romans. All of these people, Paul sent a letter to them talking about this man and where him believe in as it relates to this, the man where him called Jesus. But him never know nobody named Jesus. He will hear about this man. And furthermore, a whole heap of ones don't know, and including people who is aggressively, fundamentally into the Bible, is that Paul's Gospels was written before Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I'll say that again, you know. Paul's Gospels was written before Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It would appear that it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, then the Gospels of Paul. But it's not so. Because we still don't know who wrote the Gospel of Mark, as you hear the man say. Who wrote the Gospel of John? When I was a child, I hear say, Matthew was one of the followers of Jesus. No go so. No go so. All of what we are read is men idea of what them think of a man who them call Jesus. And the man who them like think pan never named Jesus either. Or we get pure English. What is the translation of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Paul? Who gave us these writings and stamp it and say, this is the living testament of a man named Jesus, when none of the man them who write about him did know him. None of the man them who write about him never know him. And the man who people turn to for them inspiration as it relates to Jesus Christ, him worse never know him. And if you don't believe me, go read it. How him know the thinking where him have come from, him a travel and him get lit by I don't know if it's a spirit or a light. And him hear the voice that says, stop persecute my people. Because him was supposed to be a Roman citizen. Paul was a Roman citizen. And Rome was a prevailing government of the time around Jerusalem. And also it was a prevailing talk at the time about this man named Jesus. Well, remember named Jesus? Yeshua. We know in understanding and just going through certain lecturers and books and everything there, that none of these people who write about a man named Jesus never know him, never see him walk out on a coffin, never see him raise nobody from the dead, and never see him go up on a cross. None of them who write about it. Ask your intellectual pastor or bishop, because some of them maybe don't even know to, but through them I use a doctrine to control us, control we. Them continue saying it. And you know, if you keep saying the same thing all the while, a whole heap of people going to start believe it. And it's going to start become true. You keep repeating the light become true. And them don't bring it to us like a mythology. Them bring it to us like it's a real story. Like it really happened. Yes, a man feed 5,000 people with 12 fish and 4 barley loaf. We actually believe these things. especially black people. Black people hold on upon them story there. And when I come on and say, oh, you know, so much Mark, Luke, and John write where you read. Who was these people? And them start to find certain things for sure. You say, Mark was this, Mark was this, John was this, that. Yet still, Paul is the main one that guide Christian faith and Christian belief. And the man never know him because he never write nothing about the miracles of Jesus. Paul never write nothing about miracles. And if a man walk around a town and I raise dead and I heal sick and I do all these great works, him who are right about him must know him. I get him say never know him. Maybe the first of all if you never hear that. Go ask your person if Paul didn't know anybody with name Jesus. I hear about the man. Hear. Him never feel him yet, touch him yet. And as a matter of fact, as we have said, where Paul write was written before Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Because Christianity belief is based upon where Paul say. And then the Romans them claim to them kill him and have him under the St. Peter's Basilica in a Rome. Rome is the one that guide Christian belief. Yeah, Rome guide Christian belief. And most of the things that them tell you about Jesus come from other stories that exist hundreds of years before the man who called Jesus did exist, according to them. Yes. You have 16 people that was crucified in other nations before 2,000 years. Before 2,000 years, you have one heap of people that was crucified in other religious beliefs and that was born of a virgin. Jesus is not the first person rise up that people claim was born of a virgin. Jesus was not the first person rise up that them say was crucified. Jesus was not the first person who them say was born on the 25th. As a matter of fact, every time people talk about the 25th, them turn mostly to the Roman concept of the solstice. But them still give it. And it's scary to death, almost. For really decide, say, no go so. It's man, mind, man spirituality awaken himself. And him write down where he must say, like how Paul write to the Galatians, to the this and as a matter of fact, Paul contradict a whole heap of them first four writers then of the Bible. Paul, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Paul contradict them, and Paul is the one now that talk about where the Jews them did about circumcision. Him say, sir, he not believe in a circumcision where a man cut off leisure a man penis and him something there. Yet still, a whole heap of nations, including Africa, did a circumcise them picnic. Paul said there's neither male nor female, Jews nor Gentile, because I want to bring round people. The people them who did that give credence so what we call Judaism did talk about circumcision and did talk about not eat certain things. Paul said not what you eat that defile you and all these things. So I tell you, say, the so-called, as a matter of fact, and them call it Old Testament and there's something named the New Testament. You know, sister, something funny. Something will last for thousands of years come. And them call it the Torah. The book we call it Torah. And then some people come after now and call something, the next book, the New Testament. Because now I must say, well, in the Old Testament is old. So don't go after that. go after the New Testament. And this New Testament was given by Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Paul. All of these men, if them was alive, if them did really exist. Because we don't know who write Mark. Mark are the first gospel. Out of the four, Mark are the first gospel was written. And I tell you this thing that if you pass is well knowledgeable, if you did go to one of the seminary them, or if you go to Bible school, like me know Chisholm and Ian Bowen and them man, they used to challenge me and all them really. If you have people like them, they will still look on church, sit church. Go ask them if we muta say, him just attack out time brains like treat my madman and treat my Rasta. This is have nothing to do with Rasta, because you have some Rasta who believe it too. And if you ask them who was Mark, them can't tell you nothing about no Mark. How come all of them people they have English name? Them supposed to have Jewish name. Them supposed to have Jewish name. Paul was a Jew, but he become a Roman citizen and start persecute the Jews them. And I saw him have him delusion and travel and then start to switch now and say him not persecute them already, but he go create a religion around the Jewish tradition. He go create a religion around Jewish tradition and move with some of the old time talking where them do that talk. And him come up now with this. Yet they have so-called Christianity that exist before Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Yeah. You have Christianity that exists before Matthew, Luke, and John. Christianity there in Egypt. Christ is not Jesus' last name. Christ is not Jesus' last name. Christ means the anointed. And even David was seen as the anointed. But we have it mixed up. Black people have it mixed up. Because we choose not to investigate. We just take it as how them give it. And then wrap it around my brain. And then put a guilt thing power. And then the whole of we walk around and ball out. But Jesus will come back for it. Jesus save his soul. The blood of Jesus. And all these things. That will have nothing to do with me. It will have nothing to do with me. When a man guilty and him find guilty matter, then oh, you think if you do something wrong in this society, you can go to court and quote the Bible. They might tell you, no, the Bible don't have nothing to do with what we are doing in this church, in this place. You see, you can't go turn to them and say you're not guilty because you're a Christian. And the law trump, when I say the law, no, the law of the land trump the law of Christianity as it relates to what is wrong and what is right in the system. What do I mean by that? If you do something wrong in the system, you can't go to the courthouse and claim not guilty because the Bible says. And the Bible said, no, the judge will sit down up there so, and he might try you.
The time on IRI FM is?
Time is 2 minutes past 11 o'clock. You can't go in a court with the Bible to justify what you do. Can't do that. Because there's certain things in the Bible, it's a cultural thing. It have nothing to do with you. There's certain ways and attitudes and behavior that is related to that culture. You can't go tell a man, the judge say, but judge, according to the Bible, man say, no. The law of the land trump. We want to use a word about it trump the law of the Bible as it relates to what is wrong and what is right in the society. It's just simple that. But we as black people, we not go further than where them tell you in a church. And we're afraid, they make us afraid. Fear. Fear is the hallmark of Christian belief and Christian thinking. That everything you do, it must relate to Christianity, or them going to talk fear in your heart. Yeah. So you're going to burn up in a fire. Yeah, God going to burn you in a fire and all them something there. This all loving God. Going to put you in a fire and burn you for 1,000 years. Bolipa Savior come for different races, different nation of people. Only Buddha, Krishna, you can call out only for them. Jesus is just one of them where people conjure up in their mind and put it over there in the Roman Empire. Constantinople was like the capital of Rome, so them called Turkey and the Roman Empire. You know, so Turkey is in a 2 continent. How much I want to know that? Turkey is in 2 continents. It's in Europe and it's in Asia. Yeah, I talk off of when I read now. I talk off of when I experience. You take the boat from the Asia side and you take the boat and go over to the European side. Yeah. So it's not like, say, I talk highfalutin. I talk with my experience. And them don't want to tell you that a lot of the concepts of Christianity have nothing to do with a man named Christ. And them make it up and put in the book. Want to all of the book them with them take out. You have 14 books named the Apocrypha. And everybody ever read the Apocrypha. Going at the 7-day bookstore them, and you see the Apocrypha. 13 books of them take out. They have 88 books in the Ethiopian Bible. Book of Enoch, Book of Mary, St. Thomas, the Book of St. Thomas. All of these books is not in the King James Version. Because these guys know what them was doing. This is a plan thing. It's organized. Them organize it. Them organize it. And up to this day now, 500 years after, well, since we come on here, 500 years since we come on here, them use it for manipulate your mind, manipulate your consciousness. And this day, no care how we try, we can't find ourselves. We can't find ourselves. We mix up everything. When we say our thing, we mix it up with for them thing and then move away from it. We don't know which way we are going. And the only part we want to go in heaven, your man say, I go up in heaven. When him dead, when him die, I go in heaven. And when him die, that's why them say, in the anthem, grant true wisdom from above. Where above is wisdom. Wisdom is internal. Wisdom is where you grow into. You know, you have knowledge and you have wisdom. Most of the time, them says old people have the wisdom. Because wisdom comes through experience. It's the experience of the times. Give you wisdom. It's not going to school. Give you wisdom. You might go to school and get knowledge. And you use knowledge to move yourself into the world at hand. So we understand how dangerous what I say is to some people. But if you have a open mind, you will investigate it. You will click it out. And it's easier now, not like me, where they have to read. And then after I done read, I will experience certain things out there. Because some places where I can't say it, because some places in the earth, I know no Jamaican never go there. I know them as a Jamaican there everywhere. We go at some place where, trust me, we do some things where no Jamaican never do. The man open them eye. Because we like to experience. Not like Paul, who most of the things we must say never experience. Nothing. Paul has shout a philosophical thing. Him philosophical. And him go amongst the Romans and him go amongst the Jews them. And him hear the reasoning about a man. Yeshua. Him hear the reasoning. And according to what him I say, him get a awakening, a rude awakening, and develop a philosophy around the awakening where him get. Bright light shining in him face. And then him go back and get converted. Him get converted. So him according to where him I say, him gone beyond Judaism. Him gone beyond where the other man them did I say before him, and him become the leading voice of Christianity. There's no Christian, none, can quote them belief without mentioning Paul. What Paul say in a Corinthian, Paul say in a Galatian, Paul say in a Ephesians. Can't quote them unless them quote Paul. Because Paul is the authority of Christian belief. Paul is what make Christian think. And according to the Roman them, Paul get murdered, I should say, and is now supposed to be lying under St. Peter's Basilica. With Peter too. Because them say Peter was one of the devoted followers of Jesus. And him take out himself to chop up the man he is. A bad man. Bad man. So, we just have said that because, as I say, we are raised with someone up in Canada there, and we just have some reflection. And the reflection carry back to the days when some of these things is what we used to talk about that create certain enmity between me and certain people. But me still there. I go through. And more people. And I saw me know it because that was what spring it. Because the one the moment I talk to them say, and me them here with it. And then come to Canada and go a certain place and see it. And hear it. That's why them come with me yet. Them say, because them always hear about me, them never see me yet. Them just hear what me I say. And them come to Canada and them hear other people say it. And a long time we have played Ben Buchanan and all these men on radio. And it is a deliberate attempt. Give thanks with tape, you know, and hard drive and computer and all the things that were necessary to just get information just like that. Because now a man can verify what I say. Just like that, same time as me talk. Him can just go in and phone and click, and verify what I say. Like when I say about 16 crucified saviors. Like when I say Paul was written before Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Yes. How come the apostle them have English name? They them say Philip baptized Ethiopian eunuch. The Ethiopian eunuch, him never named Philip obviously. So who did name Philip? All of them think they are going to Egypt, you know. All of them think they are going to Egypt. But we lose track. Because them carry around and come around and bring around so much that we lose track of everything. Everything we lose track, you know. And we are trying to find back where we are. But we are find back where we are in a very hard and rough and rugged way. That we have to keep going over and over and over. The same thing. But you have to keep repeating it because then repeat the lie and it becomes true continuously.
Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Questions Protestants Can't Answer. Today's question is, who wrote the Gospel of Mark? And how do you know? I'm John Martinoni, president and founder of the Bible Christian Society, and today's question is focused on the idea of sola scriptura, which is Latin for the Bible alone, or the Bible only, which is one of the fundamental pillars of most of Protestantism, that we can know all we need to know about our Christian faith and about Christian morals by simply picking up the Bible and reading. So this question, who wrote the book of Mark, is a very important question because what it does is, if all I need to know about Christianity I get from the Bible, if the Bible is my sole authority in matters of faith and morals, which it is for most Protestants, how can they answer that question? Because nowhere in the Bible does it tell us who wrote the book of Mark. This thing right here at the beginning of the Gospel of Mark in Scripture that says the Gospel according to Mark, that's not inspired Scripture. That's put in there by the publisher of the Bible. We don't have any originals from Mark that say, I, Mark, wrote this Gospel.
Yes, we're going to take a break and come forward.
Number 4, do the Gospels contain eyewitness tradition?
When I was a Bible-believing evangelical Christian, attending Moody Bible Institute, before I began my serious scholarship on the New Testament, before I began to read it in Greek, and before I saw what serious scholars of the world had to say about it, I was absolutely convinced that the Gospels not only contained eyewitness tradition, but that they were written by 2 eyewitnesses, Matthew and John, and by 2 people who were close companions to people who were eyewitnesses, Mark and Luke. Intense research has a way of changing your mind about things. But I don't want you to think that this is a reason for you not to use your brain. Even if you are the most hardcore, Bible-believing evangelical on the planet, you surely think that God gave you a brain. Use your brain. Craig and I will agree on this. God gave you a brain to think with. Apply reason. That's why God made you a human being instead of a slug. Don't be afraid of using your intelligence to find out the truth. The truth may not be what you were taught, but if it's true, you should believe it, not run from it. As I studied more and more using my intelligence as an evangelical, but also praying about it, I became convinced that the New Testament Gospels were not written by eyewitnesses or by people who knew eyewitnesses. The first point to make is the rather obvious one that the Gospels don't claim to be written by eyewitnesses. They are all anonymous. The titles in your Gospels, the Gospel according to Matthew and so forth, were added by later editors. They were not put there by the original authors. Second point, none of the Gospels claims to be written by the person whose name it bears. They don't claim to be written by eyewitnesses, and they don't claim to be written by people named Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are later traditions that were added to the Gospels. These traditions do not start appearing for about 100 years. Some people think that there is an early church father named Papias who attests to the witness of Mark and Matthew, but in fact there are very solid reasons for thinking that Papias, who lived around the year 120 to 140, is not referring to our Mark or our Matthew. The first time anybody refers to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John by name is Irenaeus in the year 180, 100 years after these books were written. My understanding of the Gospels, as they've come down to us, is that they were anonymous, and we don't know their names, and they're not built on eyewitness testimony. But the important point that I want to make is that even if the Gospels were written by eyewitnesses, or even if they did contain eyewitness accounts, that would not guarantee that they were accurate. Think about our legal system today. Are eyewitnesses always accurate in what they report? If so, why do we have trials that call in testimony more than one eyewitness? If eyewitnesses were always 100% accurate in what they report, we wouldn't need law courts. If we wanted to know what happened, we would simply ask somebody. Eyewitnesses do not always get all the information right. But even if they did, it wouldn't matter because the Gospels of the New Testament don't claim to be written by eyewitnesses, and in fact they were not written by eyewitnesses. The Gospel writers were living 40 to 50 to 60 years after Jesus died. They wrote the Gospels in Greek. Jesus' language was Aramaic. These Gospel writers were living in a different country. Decades later, where did they get their information from? They were not the followers of Jesus. They don't claim to be followers of Jesus, the disciples. They're written by later people, decades later, in a different language. Where did they get their information from? They heard stories about Jesus that had been in circulation year after year after year, decade after decade, down to the time that the gospel writers living in a different country, speaking a different language, heard the stories. What happens to oral stories when they are transmitted orally? They change. The gospel writers have discrepancies among themselves because the stories that were told and retold were changed over time, and the gospel writers themselves sometimes changed the stories. That's why there are discrepancies. That's why scholars might be able to tell you generally what Jesus was about. They can list 8 things that Jesus did, but they can't tell you the details and agree. Why can't scholars agree? Because there are so many discrepancies that the Gospels are not reliable.
Balancing the truth. Man called Maccabee, I have a dream. Religion that we are dealing with tonight.
And an old priest said, "Speak to us of religion." And he said, "Have I spoken this day of aught else? Is not religion all deeds and all reflection? And that which is neither deed nor reflection, but a wonder and a surprise ever springing in the soul, even while the hands hew the stone or tend the loom? Who can separate his faith from his actions, or his belief from his occupations? Who can spread his hours before him, saying, this for God and this for myself, this for my soul and this other for my body? He who wears his morality, but as his best garment were better naked. The wind and the sun will tear no holes in his skin. Your daily life is your temple and your religion. Whenever you enter into it, take with you your all. And if you would know God, be not therefore a solver of riddles. Rather look about you and you shall see him playing with your children. And look into space and you shall see him walking in the cloud, outstretching his arms in the lightning and descending in rain. And you shall see him smiling in flowers, then rising and waving his hands in trees.
Yes. Man called, well, Khalil Gibran words. Khalil Gibran, the religion, what the book name? The Prophet.
There were 15 major theological religious movements in the world before Christianity that taught exactly the same identical story of a Messiah who came to the earth, who was born in a manger, who died on a cross, who had 12 apostles, who died with a crown of thorns. Are you aware that there were 15 major religions that had the same identical teachings of Christianity? Most people aren't. And I'm very suspect of a 16th religion, which is copied off of 15 previous religions, and I am told that this one is the truth. I become very suspect. Of course, God's Son, S-U-N, the Egyptians said had an evil brother. He was the Prince of Darkness, and he came out at night to rule the world. When God's Son died and went away, the world was in the hands of the Prince of Darkness, and his name was Set. And he came out at sunset. The Egyptians said that that newborn son that came up every morning, his name was Horus. In Easter, we have Easter sunrise services, or Horus Horizon. That's where we get the word horizon. I'm saying that there are 15 major religions in the world before Christianity that have taught the same thing. It is a very ancient, old story. That's why the Bible's called the greatest story ever told.
The courts of law give us the chance to judge innocence and guilt. But is guilt reduced or removed by the passage of time? That's the question raised by our next document. For more than 300 years, European merchants forced Africans onto slave ships and transported them across the Atlantic Ocean. And Britain played a huge part in this human trade. British ships carried around 3 million slaves to America and the Caribbean, where they worked on plantations, helping to build the wealth of the City of London. The trade made many organizations rich, and I've discovered in the archives that that includes a very surprising name. God Almighty has set before me the abolition of the slave trade. So wrote the great reformer William Wilberforce. And yet, during the 18th century, there were slaves in the Caribbean who bore branded on their chests the word society. This 1817 register of slaves in Barbados reveals that society means the honourable and reverent society for the propagation of the gospel in foreign parts, the missionary arm of the Church of England. And here is that society listed as owning some 400 slaves. Listed here then is every man, woman and child owned by the society. We see that their ages range very considerably. Cudjoe is 70 years old, and he's working as a domestic. It seems that Ben George can be set to work as a grass gatherer, even though he's only 10 years old. Some slaves are still alive at a very grand age. Here's Rita, who's 90 years old. She's infirm. She's no longer working. But on the other hand, Okoa and Kwashiba, who are both 80 years old, are both still working as nurses. The documents don't reveal the conditions that some of the slaves would have endured. 12-hour working days in intense heat, punishments such as the lash or being put in leg irons. For the slave owners, like the church, it was the profit of the plantation that mattered. These pages bear the musty smell of their 200 years. And
all right, we're going to take a break from this and come back after the 12 o'clock signal.
Brothers and sisters, this is Chad. John.
Blessed. Blessed man.
Yes, Muta. Yeah, my virgin finally get from me the other day out of that. You sent talk to that.
Out of where?
Always I tell you about my virgin was 7 years young man party. You saying get from me for the first time out of Jocks the other day when time they have their birthday thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And get to exchange a few words with you.
Yeah, man, give thanks.
Yeah. And I call last week, Roger did around the place. So,
I'm never there.
Yeah, I realize that. So I and upon I would have things they have to talk about, but one thing we have to say right now, most Jamaicans are asleep because there's this little thing going around about how much the country has developed. But one thing most of them who talk about the country has developed is that them not realize that we are taxed to the bone already. And this government is borrowing money as an alarm. Okay, one thing they must realize is that not what the Chinese put up, no money no come here. Because the Chinese, them do the work. So then carry labor and material is sourced and payment is made. So that means that money they not touch here. Chinese work had a work on most of the site. So most Jamaicans don't get a touch. A 3.8 billion them invest in Jamaica already, you know, that's a US dollar. And we not pay it back. But we are happy.
No, we never get things sweet, you know, them because we can't pay back for the highway there, you know.
Yo, me know that
so a thing them get like land. See them build up things out of Miami Bay there.
Yes, them build where I go that the new Chinatown in Jamaica, because every country have a Chinatown these days. And what happens is that Jamaicans don't realize we have to pay that back, right? And how them are planning to raise the toll. It is being discussed right now. That boat highway, the 2000 and so on.
Not for the express one.
Everybody
knows. Not for the express. I bet I'm taking not for the express.
Yet, you know the funniest thing though? They are not maintaining the regular road. Oh, it's supposed to be maintained. The road that we are paying $5 a litre for gas stop.
Diablo there? Mount Rasa?
Yes, Mount Rasa.
Now, it won't fix.
Come on. It always won't fix it. I'm
going to drive up there again, you know, from highway, I'm going to drive up there.
Yeah, whoa. But listen to me. That's what I'm saying. If you're not, look, the money what you get charged nowadays is more than the gas so you're born to go around the road, you know, on the highway, you know. And if the wear and tear on your car, you don't have road surface to drive on, that make it double jeopardy right there, so now. Yet still you are charged at the pump $5 per litre for gas tax to have better road surface, and that the money that disappear like poof. Then the money is not being spent on the country. So all of them people that are about everything around better, them don't realize that we're coming like United States right now, $37 trillion debt. So we are built with debt. In this lifetime, we can't pay it because we are already taxed to the bone. The only thing what we don't get taxed on in this country right now is accident. Yeah, the breeze will blow. If you walk across here the street, everything what you do nowadays, muta, you're taxing in this country. And most Jamaicans don't realize it.
Yeah.
You can't buy food. Right now you're so taxed that if you go in a supermarket for $50,000, all what you usually buy one long time ago, say buy of a family, you can't afford it anymore. And there are certain things that you have to live until next 2 weeks when you get paid, you buy those. And people don't understand the crucialness of this economy. And when time they more really realize what I want is when time the next budget read, they more realize how desperate this country is. Me heard some finance guy talk about Jamaicans right now. You know we're coming at the ACXC exam just gone about a loss, you know. 82% fail, you know.
No, man, I know that them say, man.
Okay, go on.
Them say 82% are the ones them pass English. And we have the highest rate in the Caribbean, because the average is supposed to be 80. And the youth them get 82 in Jamaica. And it's not the traditional school them neither.
Wait.
82%.
Muta.
Pass English.
Muta.
Mm.
We come last out of the countries living in the Caribbean. No, you can't. We're not talking about English, we're talking about overall. We're talking about we come last. And it's not the first year. Haiti are the only country who come behind me and them never sit the exam.
All right, educate me as well. Educate me as well.
Okay.
Where get that information from?
No, man, it's a report. What just come out? Yeah, a report will just come out. Because just like you and I spend a whole heap of time listen to reports, and I want to stipulate that yes, well, we come last in the lot, because Haiti was supposed to do the exam, but because of the unrest over there, it no work.
So when you said Jamaican,
no,
in 82% in a maths, not maths, English.
Yeah,
let me get that from
me here.
Hold on, let me take a break. You still there?
Yeah, man. You get any information from what we just said?
No, I never check, I never check.
Well, me I tell you, sir, we don't listen on clip, on discussion clip. And yes, I will come last in the Caribbean. And
this year
and year before. You say something, me that listen to one of your clip, where you say Jamaicans prefer on social media to gyrate than literally do anything creative. And you did sing one song then called Dance. Yeah. That has become a reality now in Jamaica. It is a reality. You about the school the other day where them, I don't know whether somewhere there, and the man them literally tell us, the people them feel so miserably that the government actually intervenes. So kids now go literally go over in the next classes unless them can pass them reading test, them this test, them that test, them now go literally go. Because kids are left school dumber nowadays than when they enter, And that is not something where me ask you about. That is something where me know. Me work with kids for 20-odd years. And when me tell you, some of my time out, when time I question them, I wonder, although me the brain rush in a school, me still could remember the Santa and I Pinter, the criminal Columbus, 1492, saying come on New World, 1494, saying end up at Jamaica and all of them crap there. 16. Yeah, I could remember everything at my age. Yet till you them were just come out of class with my ask them a question and let me tell you, forget it. Them know this world when it comes to education. And this is what is happening right now in a modern Jamaica. Most people don't look at what is going on. Them just run with the crowd. Then I realize how broke we are right now, Here's some financial people are talking about Jamaica. So right now, okay, we're brain trained already. I mean, so we lose nurses and doctors and we qualify people them like it a go to water. But that beyond the fact is that everything on your business nowadays is going to be literally run by foreigners. We are only going to be here buying food. And the most we can do is sell on the street. Because most of the business that is owned by Jamaican nowadays, Jamaicans stop support them. Them prefer go the Chinese. But support the Chinese them. I never see a bunch of self-hating people in the world like my countrymen them. Them not respect nothing what them call nationality. So Mr. China the man for them, man. Them not care muta. And the next thing what them worship is the Almighty dollar and the United States. Because even though them put on must $250 US and the wow, a new thing just hit. I don't know if you get it. But the man must say if you're coming out the United States and you're literally
$40. 40.
No, how much? 15,000.
Yeah, as bond.
As bond, 15,000 US as bond. Come on. Most people forget about US and start investing in them country. But not tell Jamaican that tomorrow morning if they give a visa, everybody run Ghana embassy. I don't know what's going on in my country. And the political party, them just have the people in brain rush. And my brethren, them call him Bro God and him. So feel good about his name. Him feel good about that.
Him feel name Bro God?
That, not that.
A long time I don't hear them call him so.
Yeah, wow, no, every day I miss that. Oh, me up on TikTok and them place there. Okay. And me get, you remember the first time you talk about them bus there? Yes, the bus them are in traffic with the door on the other side, not only the back.
Them pass my way, man.
Yes, them wreck traffic. And imagine, we are charged $1.1 million, $1.1 billion over the reality cost of the bus. Nearly $1.1 billion.
How much bus?
114 buses or somewhere there. And the cost of them is so expensive that we have been overcharged. So there's going to be an investigation in why these buses advertise at a cheaper rate. And we, Jamaica, one of the poorest regions in the Caribbean, end up paying $1.4 billion for 214 buses. This is a rip-off. And you have people out there a jump for joy and real. That's the bigger picture. That we have been technically led astray and rob all of these monies coming out of taxpayer money. And them don't see it. Me have a brethren right now in a muta when me hang out in business place some days, you know. And when me look and see people who come in, they come shop, you know, and me see how them shop, you know, me realize how broke people is, you know, man. Me realize how broke we are, you know. And most Jamaicans don't realize it. When Nigel Clark left Jamaica, me see our brethren right, why we never asked him to stay since he was such a great, what you call a financial leader in the... And
man, and I'm a bit, you know, the things the way I get for go do that.
Muta. Let me give you a little lowdown. This is a worldwide knowledge which IMF has not helped no country in the world to recover on the wealth. Even after you pay them, you have to go back to them immediately. So, during Nigel Clark period of time, all them do is tax we, the points, plus the period they might come up with, all those are in benefit of the IMF. They literally destroy we totally. We are being taxed for everything in the world just to pay back that. And that is why them say Nigel Clark is that good. And when now them take him, you know, say IMF is one of the most destructive organizations on the face of the earth. And when them take up one of our fellow Jamaican, you can know say he wasn't working with us. He was working against us. Nobody listen to what them say up there from mainstream media. No got so. We are in debt up to our neck. We are drowning in a debt right now. We are broke. Everything in this country is imported nowadays, Muta. Everything is imported. Everything is imported. We
so
are...
them say the economy better than last year.
Come on. Listen to me now, man. You know one of the things where a lot of people don't talk about, when me hear Roger Clark read the financial, when me hear him do it before him announce him retirement, send it or resign, you know. I look at myself and say, you the man talk about unemployment job. The one thing the government don't really tell people, you know, that Jamaica, like Nigeria, is a scamming country. I will make millions of dollars from scamming. But nobody mentioned that. A lot of people out there right now, when you see a drive vehicle, don't know where the money comes from. It just come. They don't work for it. So they might tell you, oh, time better nowadays than back in those days. No go, sir. No go, sir. It's all
we have to move now, though.
Yes.
We have to move.
Well, next time I hear you,
yeah, man. Give thanks, man.
But you can check out the piece of educational excerpt where I talk about. Because that's very important. Because we're really backward there now.
Yeah, all right. We have to move.
Yeah.
All right. So, regarding the call what we have just before the break, we have a call on, but the caller who called you before the break, and him did a talk about the CXC subject, C6 results in Jamaica, so I can verify what he must say in terms of that he must say that Jamaica come last amongst the country them and thing. But the Ministry of Education put out some results on Friday where them say overall in terms of numbers of students who pass like 5 subjects or more is a 19.2%.
Low.
No, meaning say 19.2% of the amount of students who pass 5 subjects or more.
Yeah.
But for maths and English specifically, for maths, them say 85% of all of the students who take the... not math. English.
English, yeah,
English, 85% of all of the students who take the English pass.
What does that mean to say?
Yes, and 44% of the students who take maths pass.
Yeah.
Which them says an improvement from last year. Because last year, it was 76% of students who take the English pass and 39% of the students who take maths pass. And then regionally, they must say that is ahead of the region, because the region, meaning say Caribbean, is 80%, while we have 85%. And in terms of maths for the region is 39%, while we have 44%. So, as I say, I can't verify what I say, because these results are sure say we ahead of the region.
Well, that means the year,
yes,
85% English.
Yes. So, we just want to clarify it, so that it not go out there as to where I say that it goes up.
Give thanks.
Man.
Yes, Carla.
Yes, muta.
Yes, man.
Man, cool, man, dingo. Yes, muta. Notting Hill Gate Carnival again this coming Sunday and Monday, the 24th and 25th. And it generates over 400 million pounds a year to the British economy.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, over 400 million pounds a year to the British economy, despite racists who don't want to go on because two is Africans from the Caribbean.
So what would they pan it this year? What would they pan it this year?
You don't really have no names as such this year. You know what I mean? It's just the So, but may I play upon it Sunday by Talbot Road, you know, in Ladbroke Grove and then we are there. And so despite the racists not wanting it to go on, despite the fact that it generates over 400 million pounds every year to the British economy. Yes. You know what I mean? Man. Yes, for real. And Keir Starmer, again, under pressure by people because he's more concerned with what is going on in Ukraine than what is going on in Britain.
England.
He can find money to send for Ukraine, but not money for people in Britain. You know what I mean? He don't have no money for people in Britain, but he can always find billions to send to people in Ukraine. You know what I mean? That type of situation. And
so overall, in Britain, what do people must say about that between Russia and Ukraine? What do they say about it?
Overall, what people have realized, which me no long time as observe on them thing there is that Britain and the British government and the US government, NATO, using Ukraine to wage a proxy war against Russia. That is what is happening. We try to keep Russia down and that type of thing, you know. And people, a lot of people will never see now that how come him say him don't have money to deal with the standard of living
domestic
and
affair,
people
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Him don't have no money for that and doing all kind of things to penalize people financially. But him have billions to get to Ukraine. You understand? The Zelensky regime, rather, you know, in Ukraine. And also the double standard that they talk about what's going on there. So, but ignoring and also supporting the genocide what's going on in Palestine and also in the Sudan.
Yeah.
In the Sudan and in the Congo where Arab Muslim racists them murder our people in the Sudan, you know what I mean? That type of situation. Because we have African people have to deal with that. And Jamaicans are very concerned and are hoping that the election coming up for the 3rd of September, nomination day was Monday, will not descend into violence of the past and things. Because, you know, African people should not be killing each other over no PNP and GLP. So far, we haven't had any violence, really, you know what I mean? And we don't want that. We have to over that African people should not be killing themselves over PNP and GLP politicians with elections and that type of thing. Because people very concerned about that because we know where it go on from in the 60s with the gun coming through to 80 and thing. Yes.
Let me ask you about England, you know.
Yeah.
All right. The festival, them are going still. I don't see in Europe, them are going.
No, man. The festival go on, man. The Reggae Land Festival.
Yeah.
World record. I mean, record there is almost 100,000 people were at the Reggae Land Festival that took place in Milton Keynes.
Who did they on that? Who did they on it?
Israel Vibration, backed by Slabber Holt, Dwight Pinkney, and Steve Golden and others, which was good and which is where we want, where our reggae artists must be backed by our own Jamaican reggae artists instead of by some European artists. Also, and it was Chronix from Spanish Town who did very well. He was a headliner on the Sunday that I went. And him do tracks from his new album named Exile. On the Saturday, it was Capleton from Islington, St. Mary, who was the headliner, did very well. And you also had Marcia Griffiths, who did very well.
Ken Boone never on it too.
Who?
Ken Boone never on it.
No, Ken Boone was none. No.
Okay.
Marcia Griffiths, Marcia Griffiths. And she delivered a wonderful performance, man. Marcia Griffiths, you know. The only thing is that the band was not a Jamaican band, like our Israel Vibration are Jamaicans who are mentioned, who back. So we need the reggae artists must get them things to stipulate that.
Give me them back, come here, send them back.
No.
Oh, yeah, that must be in Europe.
Yeah. And Tanya Stevens was on the bill with Marcia too. She traveled with Marcia and worked with Marcia, and she did well also. You know what I mean? You know. Spragga Benz performed also. You know.
But I see one festival. I'm gonna festival in the key.
Yes, but that festival, but that was the biggest one.
In England.
Yeah, and over the 2 days, it's about 100,000 people in all.
Yeah. Like Wagatam.
Yes.
Like
it was very, very good. You know what I mean? But what people saying too is that we have a lot of good reggae artists who not being hired for these reggae festivals in Western Europe, even though they are available. You know, people like and things like them just pick a few as a bait, but a lot more are there, and then a packet with for them Europeans who imitate reggae and things. But we have a lot of good reggae artists.
Yeah, well, I feel festival.
Yes, but we have to set up. But we have to really. What really happens, you know, is that the artists really should form a union whereby them work to set up, to get jobs together and thing, you know. That unity is strengthening, you know. You understand where I did? Because it can be achieved, you know what I mean? But them have to relate with each other, you know what I mean? People like Leroy Sibbles, Light Parks, Cornell Campbell, and singers, you know, like Cynthia Richards and that type of thing. We have a lot. Stranger Cole, you know, them to pool them resources come together. Ansel Collins, who with Dave.
Yeah, but
Dave
I don't think them can go against I don't think them can go like a festival like Ratatam. Ratatam, they're from almost nearly 20 years and now, and the people them speaking around it. It's like I tell them, some must come here, so come to a reggae show and I mean, I don't say, oh, you do that. Like I tell Ratatam to come at Jamaica, come to a show. I expect.
No, we don't need Ratatam, you know, because we.
No. But I say, in a Spain and in a Europe, you have said the Jamaican artists should have formed alliance with one another and keep festival in a Europe.
No, I'm not saying keep festival in Europe, but work together as a team to try and get collective employment for them all. You know, that kind of unity is strength. Work together more rather than just individually. To see.
No, but all of them have different management. Suppose for the time are, you know, one of them festival now a certain artist, they want a certain artist. Like suppose them
I know what you mean, but what I'm saying, nothing beat a failure but a trial, and you can work along those lines so that you can help each other in whatever way, because some positive results can come out of that. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is that we have our artists who are very good at things, and we have to marshal our resources so that them can achieve maximum benefit as where them deserve due to them talent and thing, you know? Because people want to hear them in the world, not just in Western Europe, but worldwide, you know what I mean? You see? Brazil all over, you know? And when me assure you we go on at reggae land, Milton Keynes and thing, it is just further indication for those who don't know of the pulling power of reggae music. And I think when Martha Griffith said, when she performed to great applause, she said, listen, people are come talk about old school. We don't come from the old school, Martha Griffith said. She said, we come from the good school. We come from the good school. We don't come from the old school, you know. And me like how Chronics I keep the reggae music going by doing good reggae music, good new reggae music. Some of the tracks from his new album, really, really good, you know what I mean? Sure say reggae music, you know, still have that potency and power for rock people.
Well, most of the festival, them a reggae festival, and them still have Jamaican artists a tour said we.
Yes, you know, for real, you know. But as we say, we want more of our people as the musicians who make the music. And I must say, condolences to the family of Barnabas, engineer from Channel 1, and drummer who was start drumming by Sly, who passed away Friday in Jamaica. You know, he was ill. He had diabetes. I'm a brethren from Channel 1 days, Barnabas, and he was also a DJ too, and thing. You know, he died on Friday there in Jamaica. He used to live off Maresca Road, you know. He had diabetes in past. Great engineer and drummer who would slide his feet, you know, and thing, you know. Yeah, man. Right. You know. Yeah, right. Yes. And you have on Thursday too, you had a virgin from Spanish Town by the name of JB Senior, who was responsible for Greensleeves becoming a top reggae company in the world, because when Greenfield started around 1977, it was JB from Spanish Town who lived in Shepherd's Bush who actually got the first set of Jamaican artists for them to be able to release their music and that type of thing. He passed away on Thursday, the 14th. My good brethren. And he used to work with Jukes, Junior Delgado, and do productions and that type of thing. JB, he used to popularize a sound from Shepherd's Bush named Sir Jesus and run Sir Jesus shop on the Gola Road in Shepherd's Bush. My good brethren, JB Senior and thing. And I think Muta, Jamaica, as the brethren was talking earlier, we have the fertile side to produce food for ourselves. One of the biggest problems that we have in Jamaica is that we're not using the fertile soil to produce food. The too much import of food and other things is what is causing serious problems in Jamaica. We have the good soil. This import
from the start of the program, very bad. From the start of the program, that we have pushed on the radio. How long?
Yes, I know that. How long? It's not that we have the land, and the land is fertile. There's no need to be importing this poisonous junk from abroad and that type of thing. And then people wonder why the cost of living in Jamaica is so high, the exorbitant prices. But it must be. Marcus Garvey Jr., our teacher at technical, used to say, we must feed ourselves by producing what we eat. And the same thing must go for Africa. But you see all the IMF and the World Bank, Nigel Kaganti, them don't want our countries, Jamaica and the others in Africa, the Caribbean, to be self-reliant, that we feed ourselves, because that does not suit them. They want us to be in a state of constant dependency. See, IMF and World Bank is designed by racist European imperialists to keep
start the program. We'll start the program. We'll talk about rising up Africa, because Trump rise up him country, that's why we must depend on him.
Exactly. And anybody who you depend on for food, who can control you,
of course.
Whoever feed you is your master. You have to do what them say. We must cultivate our own food that we eat and get rid of the IMF and the World Bank, because they are designed to keep Africans in eternal slavery and enslavement. And as your show say all the while from time, stop push that and cobble to the same thing. We know that. See all in Africa, them have all in Kenya and some countries, Uganda, them want we to export flowers to them. Our people not eat flowers. It's food we want to.
That's why they are against Mugabe. Because when Mugabe take over the land, the white people them plant flowers on it and I send go to Europe and now plant no food.
And now plant no food. Exactly. It's food we want. We have to feed ourselves to be independent as a people, because let's not make no mistake, the Europeans do not want Africans to be independent, and the only way to guarantee independence is that we have to grow the food that we consume to be independent. There's no other way. See? And by the way, Upton Lindo have a good new album, reggae album named This Song for You. And him have a scotch upon it with Martha Griffiths, man. Combination, House is Not a Woman. Master Blaster reggae album. And AJ Franklin from Joseph Uto have a brand new album named Frankly Yours. See? So you and Shane and all of the rest of the people keep on keeping on. And we Africans will remember Marcus Garvey 138 was just the other day, Sunday gone. We must make Marcus Garvey vision be a reality.
IRFM celebrate it.
Me know that, man, every time.
All right,
so keep on keeping on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Muta.
Blessed.
Yeah, man. Good night. Good day.
Good night.
First, I would like to congratulate you and Eric for 25th anniversary.
Yeah, man, give thanks.
Yeah, man, that's blessed. We never do it with a great Jamaican station. Two things, one. First thing, I remember sometime I was with the Carlian, talk about the police killing going on. But, you know, look, normal, just civil life society. Last year, them time out, the statistic police killing about people. No, about 93. But no, I told you before, so more than 100% increase.
How much people police killed that year, yeah? How much them killed already?
Yeah, but I told you.
I told you.
And it is a big concern. Why, even though it's a strategy everybody uses to the crime rate, you know, that's why it's the crime going to the cause. The man, once in your car involved now, gambling, then I bring in, you know, I kill you. I understand. Indicom now look like them not serving purpose. What do you think? Where's your start?
What do you think about what?
The increase. Killing, they're not a killing. The people police are killing increase.
It's all away, man. Police are killing people more than how people are killing people. It's all away.
Yeah,
like them and say them are try to kill off the people them quicker than all the criminals that kill off the people them. But them busy.
Yeah?
Them busy, man. You know how much thing them I do before September?
Well, what about activity?
I tell you.
I will very bad a cut, man.
Water, drainage, road a fix, this, that, back, hospital. Why them busy? I hear so the two of them neck and neck, you hear that too?
Yeah, neck and neck, I know. Yes, yes.
Neck business are going on. One of them neck going chop off now.
The election, going to be a serious election this month. Serious election.
Every election serious, man. Serious one. I same thing I go on.
I want a more serious one, because...
Why serious? Tell me, what's serious about it?
Because the PNP cannot afford to lose.
Who?
The People's National Party cannot afford to lose.
But none of them can afford to lose. Why you say the PNP can't afford to lose? The GLP can't afford to lose?
Because, when we see it, them just have been by the party, you know.
No, hold on. You say the PNP can't afford to lose. So can the GLP afford to lose?
No, they cannot afford to lose.
Then why you say like one can afford to lose but the other can't afford to lose?
No, man, both of them.
No, you say the PNP cannot afford to lose.
Both of them.
I mean, I hear nothing. I mean, I hear wrong thing.
Well, both of them, because both of them are able to face some consequences.
Yeah, but when I ask you, what is the difference between this election and the other one?
Well, a lot of things at stake. Well,
no, tell me how you are saying. Tell me what is at stake that never at stake before.
Well, all right. The people
that try to find somewhere there, you know.
Third term, no man, you know. The JLP never win 3 terms straight yet. They never won 3 terms straight. And the PNP have never lost the election 3 terms straight.
So that is why it's different from the other election. Eh?
Yeah, man. A lot of things at stake.
But I don't see that as nothing. One of them are going to lose and one of them are going to win, and the thing are going to go on same way.
You know, no people have heart attack.
No people have heart attack?
Yes, man. Take 5 people. Well, yes, man. People them take 5 people.
And them are going dead or them are going to have heart attack? Which one?
Heart attack, man. Dead.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to look out for that.
Yeah, man, look out for it.
Make sure you're not it, though.
No. No, muta. Yeah, man, so those are my 2 points. But
Yeah,
before
man.
me look, you want to look into this, but I look into this.
You want to look into the music?
You want to, yeah, but you want to look into this something.
Which one I look into you want? The one, I do one where you hear all the while you want to hear, no? Both
Well,
no prisoner you want to hear.
Yeah, man, prisoner, right, yeah.
Them building university, all them are building hospital, college, and
Yeah, but run that one, the muta.
People's National Party President Mark Golding has stated that the party's manifesto will gain traction among the electorate and help boost campaign efforts. His comments come in the wake of criticism by the Jamaica Labour Party that the PNP's manifesto is merely a regurgitation of what is already being done by the JLP. The manifesto, entitled Mission Jamaica Love, a pledge to country, was unveiled last evening. It is based on several pillars aimed at building a better life for every Jamaican. The PNP also released a Patois language audio version of the manifesto. Speaking during a tour of constituencies in Manchester today, Mr. Golding said the Patois version is intended to resonate better with Jamaicans, thereby allowing the party's message to reach more voters.
We have the momentum. We've been on the ground for months all over Jamaica. We have been speaking to the people about our plans. Apparently some people out there are not hearing, but others who are listening are hearing. And we've launched our manifesto last night, and we're continuing to cover the ground. And we're going to run through the tape until we form government. You have to be mindful of that, and you have to distribute your ideas in a way that people can hear them and understand them. So we've done a Patois version of our manifesto, for example. First time a manifesto has been released in the Jamaican language, and I'm very proud of that. And the individual items that would be of relevance to particular groups, we plan to break out those ideas and let them understand them directly so they get a good feel for what we're offering.
PNP President Mark Golding. Meantime, opposition spokesperson on justice, Senator Donna Scott Motley, said the People's National Party will focus on reviewing the Beach Control Act, expanding the Senate, and creating fixed election dates and term limits should it form the next government. Senator Scott Motley made the announcement during last evening's launch of the PNP's manifesto ahead of the September 3 general election. The manifesto, dubbed Mission Jamaica Love, a pledge to country, is now available on the PNP's website and social media pages. According to Senator Scott Motley, the next PNP administration will implement fixed election dates and term limits. She further noted that the Senate will be expanded to include members of the diaspora, persons with disabilities, and the Rastafari and Maroon communities.
We shall have a discussion and consider fixed election dates and term limits, and this is no idle promise. And to those of you who are not here but are listening, we shall expand the Senate to broaden representation to include the diaspora, persons with disabilities, and the Rastafari and Maroon communities. Inclusion for all.
She also noted that the Beach Control Act will be reviewed to ensure that access to beach by citizens is guaranteed while balancing tourism.
We will implement a progressive beach policy. By reviewing the Beach Control Act, we will guarantee public access while balancing tourism and private use.
Ms. Scott Motley reiterated that the next PNP administration will make Jamaica a republic with the president chosen by the people.
We'll be hosting public forums for Jamaicans to debate and recommend the constitutional reform so that when we provide you with a constitution, you will feel that it belongs to you. We will be implementing school and community outreach programs because that's where it all begins, with our children, as we build a new nation alongside them. Of course, we'll be launching broad public education and awareness campaigns, all aimed primarily at the outset with replacing the British monarch with a Jamaican president chosen by the people and accountable to the people.
Opposition spokesperson on justice, Senator Donna Scott Motley. Jamaicans are being urged to consider performance and achievements instead of emotion and tradition when they decide on which political party should form the next government. Jamaica Labour Party leader, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, said while the phrase third term has been bandied about in recent weeks, he is not asking for a third term. He told party supporters that what he seeks from the electorate is a vote for a government that has performed. He made the comments in Devon, Manchester last evening amid intensified campaigning ahead of the September general election.
I am not asking you to give me a third term. That's not what it is about. Asking for a third term is like saying, time come. What I'm asking you to do is vote for a government that has performed convincingly. What I'm asking you to do is to vote on evidence, not on emotion, illogic, and falsehood. Vote on the record of performance. And yes, you have to also consider what will the government do in the future.
Dr. Holness pointed out that the electorate can be confident in the decision to vote for the JLP because it has evidence in the form of a record of achievements during the past 2 terms.
One thing I always say to people, the future is as a result of the decisions you make today. And if you are going to make decisions today, you should consider what has happened in the past. And if you consider the past actions of the Jamaica Labour Party in its last 2 terms, then you have literally no other choice. Because when you compare what we have done to what any other administration has done, we are street and lane above them. We are way above them. And so when you come to make a decision and you take into account the record and history and evidence of our performance, along with the credibility of the commitments that we have made, you have confidence that if you continue to place your trust and to give us the authority to continue administering your affairs, you can be assured that you will have a better quality of life for your household and for your country.
The JLP leader said the electorate should use credibility to judge the promises and commitments made.
And therefore I ask you, in the choice that you have to make, don't about political party, your political traditions, what your family always vote, what your friend them say, all the rumors and lies that them spread on social media, those have no bearing on the decision to elect a government. Look at the facts and the evidence of performance and credibility and use that to judge the promises and commitments that are being made. And once you do that, there's only one logical conclusion. If you go to choose Jamaica, you have to choose the Jamaica.
And the Jamaica Labour Party leader has stressed that the government is committed to ensuring that all citizens have access to potable water by 2030. Andrew Holness made the comment while addressing party supporters in Devon, Manchester last evening. He pointed out that his administration has been making strategic investments in water infrastructure island-wide. Dr. Holness cited as an example the Spark program, which incorporates pipeline alongside the road rehabilitation works. He noted that discussions are being held with bauxite companies to allow access to wells on their properties, especially in sections of Manchester.
For communities like here and New Green and where we just come from in Mile Gully and other areas, that for decades you have no water. Now there is the issue of the geography of the parish. Manchester don't have many water sources, but for this area you do have some water sources. Your councillor tells me about Moravia, and your member of parliament to be has been very resourceful, and she has made some connections with the bauxite company in the area to have certain wells become available. And I'm not going to say too much more. That's your achievement, and I wanted to speak about it when it has been perfect. But this area has potential for water. What needs to happen is an allocation of resources to expand Moravia and to tap into some of the other wells, and to have the water distributed via the pipelines, which you don't now have, into your community.
Dr. Holness said when the GLP returns to government in the next term, it intends to implement a major water program.
These communities, like this one, is not unique with this problem. It is right across Jamaica. And so what this administration will do in our next term, just as how we announced the Spark program, and it's not just an announcement, we put the money behind it, we are going to announce a similar program of a massive investment in water to ensure that every community in Jamaica has potable water for its residents. By 2030, every community in Jamaica should have access to potable water. It is not an impossibility. What it requires is investment.
Jamaica Labour Party leader, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Preliminary data from the Jamaica Tourist Board indicates that July marked the strongest July on record for visitor arrivals. There were 286,548 stopover visitors last month. The JTB says the figure demonstrates Jamaica's continued appeal as a premier Caribbean destination. Marlene Freeman reports.
JTB says the July 2025 figure is a 16.5% increase compared to July 2024 of over 246,000 arrivals and a solid 4.8% growth over July 2023 with approximately 273,000 arrivals. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has welcomed Jamaica's arrival for the month of July, stating that these exceptional numbers reflect the island's unwavering position as the Caribbean's most sought-after destination. He stated that the 16.5% month-over-month growth showcases Jamaica's tourism industry's robust destination assurance program, remarkable resilience, and the effectiveness of strategic marketing initiatives. According to JTB, the significant growth over both the previous year and 2023 levels indicates robust recovery and expansion in the sector. The tourism sector's success in July is attributed to several factors, including enhanced airlift capacity, successful marketing campaigns targeting key source markets, and the island's diverse tourism offerings from beaches to the cultural experiences. Jamaica continues to invest heavily in tourism infrastructure and experiences, with ongoing developments in accommodations, attractions, and transportation to ensure the destination can sustainably accommodate growing visitor demand while maintaining the authentic Jamaican experience. Reporting for IRFM News, I'm Marlene Freeman.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the government is not seeking cheap labor to create profit for capital. Speaking at a groundbreaking ceremony for the Palace Grand Jamaica Resort Monday, Dr. Holness said he asked stakeholders in the tourism sector to invest in workers so that they can increase productivity.
We are not seeking cheap labor to create profit for capital. That's not what we're trying to do. We believe that we can use our labor to create value for which both labor and capital benefits. If you do it any other way, that is to exploit labor to make profits, then you set the political context for a struggle for labor to get more, and then what that drives is inflation. And if you disconnect wage increases from productive value creation, you will get into an inflationary spiral. So the model that we want, and all the people who I speak to here who are in tourism, I've been very clear that they must invest in the workers so that they can increase their productivity, so that they can increase value, which can be fairly shared between workers and capital. That is a must.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Alligator Pond Councillor Omar Robinson has reiterated his appeal for motorists to exercise caution on the Prospect Main Road in Manchester after a 9-year-old boy was struck by a vehicle on Monday. Police have revealed that the child had been admitted to hospital in critical condition. Councillor Robinson said the child's hands were broken in the incident.
And learning of another incident a stone's throw away from where that first incident occurred on the Prospect Main Road. It is sad. The family, they are unsure of what will happen with this child being hospitalized. I learned that both hands are broken after a dialogue with his parents, 9-year-old young man. And I even saw the driver of the motor vehicle this morning, and he's still in shock. My plea at this time is for both motorists and parents to exercise caution, and to especially for that area which is now a hot spot.
He also urged parents and motorists to be vigilant.
We learned of a speed limit that I'm still questioning at 80 kilo. Drivers, the area is a built-up area. It's an area that children traverse to and from districts by crossing the road. It's an area that you must realize that you're close to a school zone and the children are on holiday. So we are complicating the situation by not being vigilant. And all I want is for parents to be vigilant, and I want motorists to be vigilant at this time. I've been in dialogue with pastors in the area, and we will have a prayer vigil very soon just to take charge of that area and have it sanctified and have that area blessed, because I am not pleased right now with all of these incidents happening in less than a week. And I plead for the parents to be more vigilant. Make sure that you are supervising the children. Make sure that you know their whereabouts and warn them about the safety of using the street.
Alligator Pond Councillor Omar Robinson. The Monday incident just comes week after another earlier this month, which was fatal. 12-year-old Malik Barnes died from injuries he received after being struck from his bicycle, also in Prospect, Manchester. The Island Traffic Authority is raising concern over a sharp rise in road fatalities, particularly among motorcyclists, as the death toll on the nation roads continues to climb. So far this year, 241 people have died in road crashes. The authority says July recorded the highest number of road deaths since the start of 2025, with motorcyclists accounting for 30%, or 12 of the 40 fatalities recorded during the month. That number represents a 100% increase in motorcyclist deaths when compared to July 2024, which saw 6 such fatalities. The ITA is urging motorcyclists to wear protective gear and adhere to the speed limits. A St. Anne man was fatally shot during an alleged confrontation with lawmen on Milford Road in Ocherius today. The deceased is 30-year-old Shamani Betbeen of Content Gardens, Ocherius. The details have not been released, but police say the incident occurred about 7 a.m. Lawmen say the Inspectorate Professional Standards Oversight Bureau, IPROB, and the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, are probing the matter. According to INDECOM, 196 people have been fatally shot by the police since the start of the year. Graduates of the Northern Caribbean University are being implored to consider the support they got while pursuing their studies and now to pay it forward. The appeal was made by former Dean and Executive Director of the Inter-American Development Bank Group, Jared Butler. Mr. Butler was delivering the main address at the second commencement ceremony of the 2025 graduating class. He reminded the graduates that it is a blessing to be recipients of a bachelor's degree.
You have to realize in my life, over 47 years of working, I have learned a powerful truth. And that powerful truth, you must remember this, is to whom much is given, much is expected. You are now among the proud few in Jamaica and indeed the world who have achieved the university baccalaureate degree. That is both a blessing and a privilege, but it also comes with responsibility. The U.S. President John F. Kennedy once said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I want to take that one step further, and in your case, I want you to ask what you can also do for this, your university, and for the Jamaican community, and indeed for the world.
Mr. Butler urged the graduates to give back to the university.
Give back to your university. Mentor those who come after you. Share your knowledge. Pay it forward and lift others as you climb. Always remember, always remember with sincere humility that the people you meet on the way up, you will surely meet them again on the way down. Remember the words of the great American poet laureate Maya Angelou. She said, people may not remember what you said. People may not even remember what you did. But people will always remember how you made them feel.
Former Dean and Executive Director of the Inter-American Development Bank Group, Jerry Butler. And with that story, we have come to the end of the local news. You're listening to